Okay, I'm just making this video real quick to explain this video, which I went World War III, How to Stop It, 66 Antichrist Exposed. Important to share, and it's on YouTube. It's also on Rumble. Um, and so, I'm Tony Bertani. That's, my name. I'm not hiding anything, and I'm not anti-Semitic or pro-Palestinian in the sense. I'm trying to explain that this was a plan, that the Jewish people are being used for fodder by the rich elite to get Islam and Judaism to fight, to eliminate each other. And that was the plan from Albert Pike and the Zionists from the beginning. So, at any rate, I'm just want to explain, and I want you to listen to two little things real quick. Just so we can get an idea, because it has to do with the Core Agreement is, and this, and I'm going to, this, wait, let me just, real quick, because it'll echo, mute me.
Was created as the instrument to bring about the Battle of Armageddon and the fulfillment of prophecy, a war that will be so terrible, where nuclear weapons will be used, so that the American citizens and the other people in the world will get down on their knees and beg for no more war. And what is the answer to that? They're going to be told the only way we can guarantee no more war is if we destroy the sovereignty of nations and we come together as one humanity in a one world government.
Right.
Now, I'm telling you, unless the American people wake up,
Okay, basically that's Cooper in the 1990s, and he's talking about that they're moving the Jews into Israel, which the reason they moved the Jews into Israel is to make a war between Israel and the Islamics, and to create division in the world about this whole issue. And that was in the 90s. And I mean, when the wars were going on, also I had a question about the 6 or 7 day war. And so I was in 6th grade, and I lived in South Paterson, New Jersey, which was an Arabic neighborhood, still is. And a lot of them came over right after the 67 war from Lebanon, especially. They were mostly Christian Arabs. There were Muslims there too, Turkish. We were very a Middle Eastern kind of neighborhood. I'm Italian descent. But I knew these people, and I watched the news at night. And so I'm just going to talk really quick about the 7 day war. So first of all, how we got to this 7 day war, because I wasn't really clear on that. And I'm fearful for the Jewish people and the Arab people, because this is a plan for them to make World War III there, to make Armageddon come true. And they had to put Jews in that area and create a conflict. So they used oil money to prop up the Arabs and create radical Islam, because it wasn't working the way they were doing it in the beginning. So in 48. So I'm going to try and not be so scattered so that most people can understand it. I'm going to share this tab here. This just, upon the start of the mandate to migration of Jews to Palestine between 1922 and 1935, these were the Zionists who were putting pressure on the British government, who some of them were Zionists also. And the Jewish population rose from 9% to nearly 27% total population. I think those numbers are a little off there, but it doesn't really matter. I want to just, wait, let me just see. Where's the point? I want to just read where was that? What impact did it have on the Palestinians? The Balfour Agreement, which is the agreement that was brought to the UN to give a homeland to the Jewish people. They wanted to integrate them in, but there was the Zionists wanted a Zionist state. And so they during that time period of the 1929, so they were letting Israel self kind of rule itself, and there was no, because Britain was in charge of the area, and so there wasn't any like rule. There was Palestinians, and of course the native people in the area, the Arabs, they were not really happy, and they didn't want to give up their land. In other words, like, you're in a little village here, and then the Jewish people come in and say, all right, you guys get out of this village, it's ours, this is our land, it was given to us by God. And if they didn't leave and they tried to fight back, well, Israel already had an army that was trained by the British special forces. They were armed, and they just killed the Palestinians and pushed them out. That's what was starting to happen. And so the other Arab nations were not thrilled with this. So the impact, see, when Zionist armed groups who were trained by British forcibly expelled 750,000 Palestinians from their homeland. So they just expelled them. They didn't try and make any agreement or anything, kind of like what we did with the American Indians. Okay. And despite some opposition with the War Cabinet predicting that such an outcome was probable, the British government still chose to issue the declaration, and that's the Balfour Declaration. While it's difficult to imply that the developments of Palestine today can be traced back to the Balfour Declarations, there is no doubt that the British mandate created the conditions for the Jewish minority to gain superiority in Palestine and build a state for themselves at the expense of the Palestine Arabs. When the British decided to terminate their mandate in 1947 and transfer the question of Palestine to the United States, the United Nations, the Jews already had an army that was formed of an armed military group trained and created to fight side by side with the British in World War II. More importantly, the British allowed the Jews to establish self-governing institutions such as Jewish agencies to prepare themselves for a state when it came to it, while the Palestinians were forbidden from doing so, paving the way for the 1948 ethnic cleansing of Palestine. That's basically the history in a nutshell, and that may be a little skewed, but that's really what happened. So I don't want to make this too long, but I wanted to point that out to you. So I'm going to share something else now. I'm just going to show you, because I'm going to explain the 7-Day War. So we're going to stop sharing this, and I'm just going to share a screen. I have a window. It's a window, and that would be this window here. Share. Okay. So I kind of put up a map before about this. So before 1947, this is Palestine, all green. In 1947, this is the partition plan. This is not how it originally started, but this was the partition plan. And notice, in Israel was going to be, Jerusalem was going to be an independent state, okay, run independently, partitioned. And that went wayward, obviously, very quickly. So what they did was they just brought militarized Jewish people into no army, unarmed people, and like we did to the American Indians in America, just shoved them out of their land. Now they were fighting back, and of course they already had an army that, God, they were giving them jets and everything. Well, not 48, they were getting, airplanes, artillery. I mean, these people, if they had a hunting rifle, that's what they had to defend their family and their property and their farm. But this land was given to them by England, and then and I told you, England's the problem. London with the money, they funneled so much money into Israel, and they were just expanding in and bringing more and more Jewish people in. So you got to remember back to Albert Pike and the vision he had from the demon on the 3 world wars. They needed the Jews in Israel, and specifically about 6 million. And Jewish people will know what I'm talking about with the 6 million number. It's a sacred number to them. And 6 million Jews to get killed. They brought 6 million Jews to Palestine to create a scenario where there will eventually be a world war and they will wipe out each other. That's the plan. The Jews are being used. They're given money. They'll do things for money just like anyone else. And the Palestinians, the Arabs, and the other Arab nations with the oil money. Why do you think the price of oil went up in the 70s and everything? And why we went to the petrodollar? That was to launder money to create radical Islam and create a fight back to the Jews, because there was no fighting back. They were just taking over the land and just doing it. So this is what was supposed to be given 44% of Palestine to and 48. And in 49, I mean in 67, you have here, and I'm showing you here, I guess you can see my cursor here. This is what's left of Palestine. So Israel was originally supposed to be given this, right? But then they given this area, and that was a proposal in here, and this was supposed to be left to Palestine, but they were not supposed to interfere, and they weren't supposed to really have like their own separate government, but they were all up in the air, and they just kind of let it happen. Money talks, so the Zionists are, the Rothschilds and those people. And so in 67, here you have Palestine squeezed down to here. So Jordan, Egypt, and Iraq or whatever other countries are bordering here. I forget off the top of my head. I'm not great with maps. 5 countries said, hey, because they were just murdering and just saying this is our new settlement, get out, leave. They don't care where they went. They didn't give them anything. And if they didn't leave and tried to fight, they killed them. They had an army, they killed them. They were killing the Palestinians. That's the history. If you don't want to believe it, don't believe it. That's what happened. So in 67, Egypt, Jordan, and Iraq, I think Iran, they put they put soldiers, their armies on the borders. Said, stop this. Stop massacring these people. So they did that kind of like a threat, but like a solidarity move more. They did it to like say, stop. We stand behind these people. Stop killing them. America and the UN is not doing anything. And so the Arab nations who never agreed to any of this, not the native people who were living there, and you can go into God's promise. You think God's promise said to go there and massacre those people? I don't know. Did God tell us to go massacre the Indians and make America? Was that God's plan too? I don't think so. I think that you're breaking God's commandments by doing that. Just my personal view, unless God personally came and spoke to you and said, this is how you do it. This was England and Balfour, the Zionists, who wrote this plan. Man, not God, okay? And they needed the Jewish people there so that they could create World War III. I can't emphasize that enough. They want the Jews killed and the Arabs killed. That's what they want. They want to bring in their new world order, their Luciferian world. It's clear as day. Everything going on doesn't even make any sense how they're doing things. So in 67, when they put all their troops on the border, said, please stop killing the Palestinians. We're in solidarity with them. We're showing a little bit of force, but we're not attacking. They don't attack Israel. Israel takes that defensive mode and says, hey, they're declaring war on us. They say that's an act of war. So they go and they have jets down in 67 from America and all kinds of equipment and missiles and everything. And they start bombing the crap out of Egypt and Jordan and all the other countries that are involved there. And so these countries are like, whoa, stop. We don't want a war. They're going to get in a war with America and England and everything. They just want them to stop killing the Palestinians. But Israel says it was a war, is the Zionists, because I don't want to say with the Jewish people. So they say, oh, there's a war. Oh, so then they all surrender. Say, stop. We don't want to fight. We just want you to stop killing the Palestinians and stop taking their land and killing them, murdering those people and taking their land. Stop. But no, that's all. God gave us that land. No, that's not what happened. Rothschild gave you that land along with Balfour and the Zionists and the rich elite. That's who gave you that land because they want an Armageddon to happen, and they're willing to sacrifice the Jews and the Arabs to make that happen. That's the bottom line, and that's the truth. So here we are today, and so they all surrendered, and Israel took even more land, and here we are today with what's left of Palestine and the Gaza Strips over here, right? This is now, of course, these people, after 3 generations, 70 years of that happening to them, you're going to make like rabid dogs. That's why nobody wants the people from Gaza, because they've been the oil money. They've been putting people in there. You think there aren't people in there running this little sliver of land, trying to make those people radical and educating them to be radical? You guys are being educated in the United States to be faggots and shit. I can't, that's the truth. The education system is making homosexuality and transgenderism a normal way of life when and saying if you're heterosexual, there's something wrong with you, or if you're white, they're dividing us. They're educating you that way. That's called brainwashing. These people have been brainwashed just like you're brainwashed, and you're not going to believe what I say. And the end of this is World War III, unless people pray and turn back to God. I keep saying that. Pray and turn back to God. The 7-Day War was not a miracle from God that Israel won. No one attacked Israel. In fact, I mean, maybe some of the armies shot back at the jets shooting at them, but that's about all that happened. And I just wanted to explain that. This is long enough for this video. May God bless everyone, bless the Jewish people, bless the Palestinians, and may God get rid of these Zionists and cabal, New World Order, Luciferian, Freemasonry nutcases that run this world. They need to go. God, please, because it's innocent people everywhere getting killed. You had the same thing going on in Ukraine. No one invaded Israel. No one attacked Israel in the 7-Day War. Did not happen. They put their armies on the line because they wanted them to stop killing Palestinians. It's that clear. That's what happened. I mean, Jordan had some troops in there trying to protect the people because the Israelis had an army. And, people will do anything for money. I cannot believe. That's why we have all corrupt politicians, corrupt FBI. They want their pensions. They want their money. They want their kickbacks. The judges. You can't fix this. Pray. That's what your answer. The answer from God is to pray. Pray constantly. God bless everyone. Please bring peace to the earth. I am so sick of all of this. I just can't believe it, actually. God bless.